Most people think their money problems are about money. They are not. They are about identity, about who you believe you are at a level so deep, so unconscious, that no budget spreadsheet will ever touch it. This is the wealth code. Stay with me through this entire video, because there is one specific revelation coming later that explains why giving someone $1 million can actually make them poorer. Most people never hear this. Most people never recover from not hearing it. In 1988, researchers studied lottery winners in the United States, people who had won between $50,000 and $1 million. Within 5 years, the majority had returned to roughly the same financial position they were in before they won. Not because they were stupid. Not because they were unlucky. 70% of NFL players, earning an average of $3 million per year, are broke or under severe financial stress within 2 years of retirement. That number comes from Sports Illustrated. $3 million a year. Gone. And it is not just athletes. The National Endowment for Financial Education estimates that 70% of people who receive a sudden financial windfall, inheritance, lawsuit settlement, bonus lose it within a few years. Same pattern. Different people. Different amounts. Same result. That is not bad luck. That is a system operating inside them that nobody taught them to see. Here is what no other finance channel will say out loud. Your wealth level right now is not the result of your decisions, it is the result of your identity. You are not struggling because you lack information or discipline or opportunity. You are struggling because some part of you believes, at a cellular level, that this, right here, is what someone like you deserves. And until that changes, every raise, every windfall, every lucky break will be unconsciously redirected back to zero. The financial industry needs you to believe it is about products and strategies. It is not. It is about self-concept. And that is a far more uncomfortable conversation. The psychological mechanism here has a name. Dr. Maxwell Maltz, a plastic surgeon turned psychologist, documented it in the 1960s and called it the self-image thermostat. He noticed something strange about his patients. People who had severe facial abnormalities corrected through surgery would often report feeling no different about themselves afterward. The mirror had changed. The self-image had not. The brain, it turns out, has a set point, not just for body weight, but for wealth, status, and self-worth. Psychologists call this homeostasis. When your bank balance rises above your internal set point, your unconscious mind creates friction, anxiety, impulsive spending, self-sabotage, until the number comes back down to where it feels familiar. This connects directly to what Dr. Roy Baumeister identified in his research on ego depletion. The mental energy required to maintain a self-concept that contradicts your environment is enormous. People do not simply spend money impulsively. They spend it to relieve the psychological tension of feeling like a fraud. Dr. Brad Klontz, one of the foremost researchers in financial psychology, calls these patterns money scripts. Unconscious beliefs about money inherited from your family, your community, your earliest financial experiences. Scripts like, rich people are greedy. Money changes people. I am not the kind of person who keeps money. These are not thoughts you are aware of. They are operating in the background, every single day, shaping every single financial decision. Klontz's research, published in the Journal of Financial Therapy, found that money scripts, not income, not education level, were the primary predictor of financial outcomes across demographics. Let that land. Now here is where it gets deliberately dark, because this is not just an accident of psychology. The system profits from your self-concept staying exactly where it is. Consumer credit companies, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, generated over $170 billion in revenue in 2023. That revenue depends almost entirely on people spending beyond their means. Not occasionally. Chronically. Predatory lending institutions specifically target low-income neighborhoods, not because poor people are irresponsible, but because financial stress is a known suppressor of cognitive function. A landmark study by Sendhil Molanathan and Eldar Shaffer at Harvard and Princeton found that financial scarcity literally reduces available cognitive bandwidth, the equivalent of a 13-point IQ drop. 13 points. When you are financially stressed, you make worse decisions. And the system knows this. The lottery, state-run in most countries, markets itself hardest in the lowest income zip codes. It is not subtle. The California lottery, for example, generates the majority of its ticket sales from communities earning under $30,000 per year. And mainstream financial media, CNBC, Bloomberg, most personal finance YouTube, profits from keeping you focused on tactics. Which stock? Which crypto? Which budget app? Tactics are easy to sell. Identity work is not. So they sell you tactics. And your self-concept stays untouched. And the cycle continues. Retention peak. But here is the part that will actually change how you see money. When researchers studied people who built wealth from nothing and kept it, not inherited wealth, not windfall wealth, but built and kept wealth, they did not find superior financial knowledge. They did not find better investment strategies. What they found was a fundamentally different relationship with future versions of themselves. Stanford psychologist Hal Hershfield ran a study where he showed people aged photographs of themselves, digitally aged to show what they might look like at 65. The people who saw their aged selves allocated nearly twice as much money to retirement savings than those who did not. Twice as much. Same income. Same knowledge. Different self-concept. Hershfield's conclusion was profound: most people treat their future self as a stranger. Saving money feels like giving money away to someone you do not know. Spending feels like keeping it for yourself. The wealthy do not experience time and self that way. They have a continuous identity that extends decades forward. This is the real gap between the wealthy and everyone else. Not knowledge. Not discipline. Not luck. It is the psychological experience of being the same person across time, and feeling financially responsible for that person. You cannot out-budget a broken relationship with your future self. You cannot invest your way out of a self-concept stuck in the past. The genuinely wealthy, not the performatively wealthy, not the lottery rich, do something cognitively unusual. They do not think about money often. This sounds counterintuitive. But research on high-net-worth individuals consistently shows that chronic focus on money is a feature of financial anxiety, not financial success. Wealthy people have automated their financial behavior so deeply that money requires minimal conscious attention. The decisions were made once, at the identity level, and the systems run themselves. Specifically, they practice what behavioral economists call pre-commitment. They make decisions today that bind their future self. Automatic transfers. Irrevocable accounts. Structures that make the right behavior the path of least resistance. They are not more disciplined than you. They have simply built environments where discipline is not required. They also speak about money differently, not just in public, but privately, to themselves. Psychologist Ethan Kross at the University of Michigan found that self-distancing language, referring to yourself by name when making decisions, significantly improves financial judgment. Instead of asking yourself "what do I want?" asking what should David do here removes emotional noise and activates more rational processing. And finally, wealthy people update their identity on purpose. They deliberately spend time in environments, with people, in conversations, that reflect the financial identity they are building toward. Not as aspiration. As normalization. They make the unfamiliar familiar before the money arrives. Step 1. Surface your money script. Write down the 3 sentences your parents said most often about money. Not what they taught you, what they said, repeated, muttered, argued about. Those sentences are running inside you right now. You cannot reprogram what you cannot see. Name them. Then ask, is this actually true? Or is it just familiar? Step 2. Raise your financial floor, not your ceiling. Most people focus on earning more. The identity move is to make your current baseline feel insufficient. Set a savings floor, a minimum number below which your account never goes, and treat breaking it as an identity violation, not a budget failure. Automate it. This is not about the amount. It is about creating a self-concept that is intolerant of financial depletion. Step 3. Meet your future self. This is the Hirschfield application. Write a letter from yourself at 65 back to yourself today. What does that person wish you had done? What decisions would have mattered? Read it once a week. It sounds simple. The research is unambiguous, it rewires temporal self-continuity faster than almost any other intervention. Step 4. Change your reference group deliberately. Jim Rohn said you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. The research on social comparison, documented extensively by Leon Festinger, confirms that we calibrate our financial norms to our immediate social environment. If everyone around you is comfortable being broke, broke will feel normal. Find communities, online, in person, where financial literacy and wealth building are the baseline. Not to show off. To recalibrate what normal feels like. You will never out-earn your self-concept, so the most important financial investment you will ever make is in the identity of the person who manages the money. Every tactic, every strategy, every investment vehicle in the world is downstream of how you see yourself in relation to money. Fix the identity, the tactics become obvious. Leave the identity broken, and no tactic will save you. The uncomfortable truth is that most financial education is designed to keep you dependent on more financial education. Real financial freedom begins on the inside, and that is where this channel lives. If this shifted something for you, subscribe, because tomorrow we go even deeper. Next, watch our video on why high-income earners stay broke, because the pattern there is even more specific, and even more fixable than what we covered today. This is the Wealth Code.